Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or amongst the 50% of the viewing audience who have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, simply click on the link in the info box below this video. Be sure to mute the page you are currently watching before you click that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. If you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. You will be warmly welcome back on the next stream. With that, I'm going to transition across to my photographs, and I would encourage anybody who is currently in the live audience to please share the show. I will pester the audience continually to share the show as it widens the viewing audience, which may increase the chances of having a more diverse panel. So once again, if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Check out my multitasking skills. See who's in the chat. Not good enough to mute my iPad. Fanny Lancer says Nate, N8. Very clever. Good to have you here, Fanny Lancer. They lie, Ohio says second. Yes, you were indeed. Good to have you here, They Lie. Flat Earth and other hot potatoes. Is that the real Patricia Steer? We shall see. Tense moments. It is! Good to have you here, Patricia. Ranty contributed to this show, although some people may not realise that yet. Hello, Munchkin. You gonna come and help me with my links? No. Oh, okay. Just suit yourself. What else we got? P. Mars wants to drop grudges. Is that right? Good to have you here. Roger MC says, pleased to have you here. Big shout out to Patricia for supporting me on the super chat. Thank you very much. What else we got? Cathexis. Oh, good to see you, Cathexis. Another contributor to the show. Let's see if I can't actually bring the chat up. There we go. Actually see you, happy chatters. Scooby-Doo, good to see you. Nichio Snows, thanks for being in our live chat. Good to have you here. Great way to kill time while we wait for our first debater to join the panel. Shouting out you good people, as you're the most important people here, let's face it. The viewers. Gerard, good to have you here. Rune Thornson, nice to see you. Very pleased to have you in our live chat. Arwin, nice to see you, my friend. Another contributor. Thanks for being in the live chat. Near Base, wow, lots of contributors in the live chat at the moment. Good to have you here, Near Base. Thanks for being here. That Juminity Overlord. Probably saying that wrong, but good to have you here all the same. Non-schooling, thanks for being in the live stream. Nice to see you. Getting close to the bottom now. Vane Veen, nice to see you as well. Thanks for being here. that it? Fake Tim Osman and Cat Earth. The last two in. I'm not going to shout anybody else out. I will transition after I do my links once more. You may hear these links several times while there's nobody on the panel, but if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you have... Oh, wow. Another super chat. Just £6.66 or $6.66 by Patricia Steer. Keen to get the plugs in. Let's see if she said anything. I should really. I was trying to send $6.66, but send $2 a minute ago and ruin the fun. Not at all. Very pleased for the contributions. Much obliged. Better carry on my links. Where was I? If you're new to this channel, if you want to support, you can hit the super chat, as super chat has just been hit by Patricia Steer of Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. Be sure to check out her channel. But most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are currently listening to me on muted, simply click on that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. Please do not swear in the Hangout. If you do, you'll be ejected. However, you'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. So please don't try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. Once again, I'd encourage you, if you are in the live audience at the moment, to please share these shows. It does increase the viewing audience, and that ultimately increases the chances of having a more diverse panel. So I'm going to transition across to my photographs. You may hear from me one more time with pretty much exactly the same information. If not, you will hear from me again to introduce our first debater. Actually, on that note, if somebody from the live stream would like to just check that the stream works and click on that link, even if you just pop in and drop out again, that'd be very much appreciated. Or, as people like Arwen have done in the past, this is the best opportunity to spout your rhetoric unchallenged. I suppose we could do a few more shout outs as a few more people have joined us in the live chat. So hello to A4, very pleased to have you here. Good to see you, my friend. Nathan Oakley's dresser, nice to see you also. Thanks for being here. Shill Scanner, much love. Much love to Shill Scanner. Almost lost for words, not quite. Lee Hedges, nice to have you in here, my friend. Thanks for being here. Perfect timing. We've been joined by our first guest. Maybe here just to test the stream. But we've definitely got a working stream, which is the most important thing. I will say hello to Vane. Let's see what the rest of your name is. Vane Veen. It works. Confirmed. Thank you very much, Vane Veen. Really appreciate it. Have a good show. I will. Thank you very much for testing that the stream works. Tense moments until somebody like yourself tests it. So thank you very much indeed. While you're here, if you did want to express your views... No, already gone. But no, I really do appreciate it. Thank you for testing it. Curved Water, another contributor. Chat full of contributors at the moment, all playing roulette with who's going to join first. Very pleased to see you, Curved Water, in the chat. Flat Jeffy, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Chris Truthseeker, thanks for being in the chat. Should really check that is the real Chris Truthseeker. Probably the most socked out person out there. Been joined by Sleeping Warrior. No, not the real Truthseeker. What a shock. Hello there. Morning. How are you doing? Good evening.
Bit of feedback, is it? Maybe.
That could be me. It's because I've just been watching Home Alone 2. So it's a bit louder than it should be.
I want to present an idea to you.
Go, shoot.
Although I'm roasting. Let me open that window.
Be my guest.
It follows on from Nathan when Nathan was in the other day. Miles Davis. We were discussing the Curie temperature of molten iron and how the Curie temperature is long since surpassed on the globe model. And I was asking him what was the external source that's required to magnetize it to give us the thing that we call, well, gravity. Now I'm gonna do stuff that's a little bit contentious, and I'm sure I'll get scorned for it, but I'm going to suggest that we may live on something that's spherical shaped, but not necessarily the way it appears. Let me just get to my thing, because I have prepped this. I just need to make sure that I've got the right thing, which should be that one. Right, so if I get rid of that. Now, let me share my screen. And if anybody comes in until before I've finished, give me a chance to finish it before you have a go at me. Right. So share that. Share. Okay. Is that presenting?
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that it is.
Car.
Yeah, car. Right. So the wheels on a Formula One car we all know are round. And this is a slow motion replay of Lewis Hamilton locking it up. And what you want to notice is that at the point where there's friction with the surface underneath, it goes flat. It's called a flat spot. And as he releases the brakes, the flat spot becomes visible to us. And there we see the flat spot. I'm not against the idea that we live on something ball-shaped, but I am against the idea that it's the size they tell us it is. It appears to be much, much bigger, because I accept that we struggle to prove that it's flat. There are times that it does possibly look curved, but the curve is much greater than what they tell us it is. It's not the size they tell us. And you've heard me say before numerous times, I believe we could be on something the size of Jupiter. Well, Miles Davis asked me to explain if the Curie temperature of molten iron has been met and it requires an external source. I wasn't expecting him to ask me to suggest where the source might come from. So he caught me on the back foot. So I didn't have the ability, or I didn't have an answer for him. But I think that we could actually live on something like this, because this would explain where the core the thing that's charging the molten core, if it does in fact exist. All the electromagnetic or all the electric lightning storms that we have around the Earth, and if you look on the ISS footage, whether you consider it to be real or not, they're always showing lightning storms. And imagine that all the lightning storms are feeding this core the way this is. Now, if you think of the word Earth, we live on Earth. Think about it from the electromagnetic point, which would be if we live on the Earth, you only need a live and a neutral, and then you've got a circuit. So Earth would be the insulator that we live on, which is the ball. And then if the outside is positively charged, like Tesla argued, and the core is negatively charged and being charged continuously by the outside, and the Earth is the insulator, to some respects the conductor, but depending on the geology of the Earth we live on, the rocks could well be the conductor, whereas the rest of the Earth is the insulator that we live on. It makes sense that if this is being charged from all sources, that it makes sense that this could make a molten core if it does in fact exist. And I'm not against that idea. It is possible, because we do live in a realm, I believe, and accept Tesla's explanation. But I wanted to just finally fine tune this slightly, because if I can get this to a point where he has his hand on it, there we go. In and around New Zealand, if there's a nodal point around Australia that allows a more powerful current to go through it, this would create the declination that we see in Australia. And if you look on the magnetic field map, you can see there's 4 or 5 of these places that are dotted around. So although this one's showing like 30, imagine it was only 4 or 5, and there was 4 or 5 feeds going into the molten core to give it its magnetic effect. Then what they're describing with regards to the magnetic core may well be gravity, but it's actually electromagnetic, but they're passing it off as gravity because that's what I think is going on. But let me put this into a bigger context so that you can see what I'm talking about in the bigger picture. If I go to this one, I've suggested that we may live on something the size of Jupiter, and if that's the case, we live on a flat part of it, like the flat part on the wheel. So we feel it and perceive it to be flat. But the celestial sphere that goes round us, which they always go on about proving everything, that may well be the celestial sphere on the outside. And we're on the ball shape that's on the geocentric thing on the inside. And we're living on a flat spot of it. Like a flea that lives on a dog doesn't know that he's living on a dog. We can see the flea lives on the dog, but the flea himself doesn't know it's a dog. He just knows that if he bites it, he gets food. The planets may well go round on the outside of the sphere, or indeed the planets may go round on the inside. In any event, it would match the observations that we can make empirically, because in the background you've got the Milky Way. I'm not ruling this out as a potential idea, because the reality is this: we do live in some kind of electromagnetic universe, and we are able to demonstrate this with compasses, because compasses line up to the electromagnetic rays, electromagnetic fields. So this is what I was trying to say to Miles the other day. If there is a magnetic core there, and it has to be charged externally, this makes a lot of sense to me, because the Earth that we live on would be the insulator. There are nodal points that, like his fingers right now, that charge it. And we know that the ether around us, the realm around us, Tesla told us that there's an abundance and it's unlimited supply of energy. We just need to tap into it. This is what I think we're living in. Whether it's flat or not, we can't prove it's flat. It does appear to be flat, but this makes a lot of sense to me. And I like the idea of the celestial sphere going around it. Makes me more of a geocentrist, and I'm not saying I'm geocentrist, but I'm just looking at the bigger picture. If there is a molten magnetic core, this would be the external supply that, in my opinion, makes most sense, because we can repeat this. We can show this, and this kid's doing it for us right now. So I just wanted to put that out there as a possibility to explain how there might be a molten core on their model, and we shouldn't rule it out. It's difficult to prove that we are flat. It does appear that there are times that it does definitely look flat, but we've never been able to get it beach to beach over a distance. But that may well be about to change, but it's a different story. So that was the proposition that I wanted to just put forward. We could actually live on a Death Star. I know it sounds a bit crazy to say Death Star, but that is how it appears to be. There is something going on electromagnetic, and we could live on a flat spot on it. And how would we prove otherwise? Because we can't see the bigger picture.
I mean, in terms of the stars, that what you've presented has no better way of working than the flat Earth model in terms of how the stars would rotate around it. It doesn't give you any better explanation. Does that make sense? Anyway, we've been joined by... Oh, no, maybe not. So, yeah, in my mind, as you move across the equator and see the change in stars, it makes... What you've presented is no different to the flat Earth.
Agreed.
Which has its flaws.
No, I agree. But I'm not against the idea of there being a molten core that's magnetized, because I believe that we live in electromagnetic.
You're not using it for the reasons of the stars. You're using it for the reasons of explaining a molten core. But anyway, I think we have successfully been joined by Tim Osman. Let's just check if he's working. How you doing, Tim?
No, I reckon I'll get sniped now.
Yo.
I think so.
No, I'm not sniping you, dude. I just wanted to talk about your conversation you had the other day with a chemist and your standards of evidence and standards of proof. On your side is you read a Wikipedia article and then try to debunk it. And then you ask this guy to basically prove the pressure, at 8 miles and all of this kind of stuff. So I just, I really don't know what you're doing out here, dude. It's really silly.
Before you do answer, can I just introduce P. Mars? So we've been also joined by P. Mars. How you doing, P?
Hi, good.
You're quiet too.
Yeah.
Good to have you here.
I can talk up.
There we go. I've turned you up, don't worry.
So, Anthony, I also did hear that you said that you had one time that you saw curvature or something not too long ago, or what looks like curvature. And we've already been through this. You had a daytime and a nighttime thing that you said, oh, this looks like curvature, and you basically threw that out a while back. So I just, dude, I don't understand why you're out here, man. Seriously.
I don't understand why you're out here either.
Rancy, puts out fake information, and then when he gets caught, you have to come out and say that that he was just testing people. So do you condone people putting out fake and disinformation by any chance?
I think you might have misunderstood the point. Ranty proved that after the event, it was done intentionally, and he date and time stamped stuff to show that it was done with intent, not to deceive, but to show that stuff could be faked. So I think you've misunderstood what was going on there, Tim.
Well, no, I didn't, because like I said, and you just said, it's very deceptive. And I don't understand, if you guys are in the pursuit of truth, why you would even do that to begin with. Because there's a lot of people that were commenting, or a couple people that were commenting on the Flat Earth side, that we're actually thinking that it was true, right?
Yeah.
So why put out fake information?
The point was to show that the ISS footage could be faked and nobody would know.
Well, that's actually not true because people did know, right?
Yeah, but we
And
deliberately
the only people
Hang on,
that did know were on the globe side, right?
we deliberately put the ISS flying the wrong way to show that we were trolling you guys. We were literally trolling you guys.
I just don't find the necessity in doing such a thing, Anthony, because you are out here and you have been proven to be very intellectually dishonest on this
Really?
subject. So yeah, you have.
Well, in your opinion, Tim, but with regards to the Wikipedia citations, this is the science. There is a known Curie temperature. And if I spoon feed it back to you guys in a way that's not intellectually dishonest, it needs then to be explained. And when it gets explained with the evidence, it falls apart. So
there's no look. You have no evidence to debunk that, okay? Because
No.
this is something. Listen. This is something that I listen. This is something that I brought up. This is something I brought up 2 years ago. Okay, when I was actually really into researching and seeing what they saw. So extreme pressures, Coriolis, gravity, all this kind of stuff. I thought that was funny that they used all of those to explain it, but it's really neither here nor there because none of us really can epistemologically prove what is going on here. So that goes for you as well. You cannot disprove that is the case.
You've misunderstood
just
the
before
point.
you address
It wasn't
that,
me
Anthony,
disproving.
I'm really sorry to interrupt.
It was your
sorry,
trying to assert
bear
a
with me.
position to be true.
Sorry.
Based on
We've
no
been joined by
evidence.
Channel Q. Very pleased to have you here, Channel Q.
Hey guys.
Everyone's quiet. I'll turn you up too. Pleased to have you here.
I proposed to Channel Q just like 5 minutes ago.
So just to clarify, Tim.
She said no.
Just to clarify, Tim, I wasn't trying to debunk him. I was trying to get him to prove his claim to be true, and he did not have the evidence. So it wasn't me trying to debunk him.
You have do you understand that you have a claim as well that isn't the case? So how can you prove that it isn't the case?
He who asserts must prove. That's the basic principle of life.
Well, you asserted that it isn't the case. So how do you prove that it isn't the case, Riley?
Ask for evidence. Osman.
Absence of evidence.
No, ask for
You know what
evidence.
they say about absence of evidence.
No.
Absence of
I
evidence
said
isn't
ask.
Evidence of absence, right?
No. I said ask for evidence. If he can't prove his assertion to be true, it's nothing more than science fiction.
Okay, so let me go over this one more time with you. Your assertion is that it isn't the case, and you continue to say that, and you're trying to prove that point. I listened to it, okay?
Did you see right at the beginning when I showed what my assertion was? Evidence, please, was the two words that I used. That was what the whole premise of that debate was on.
You're talking to a chemist, and you say sodium is salt. I mean, dude, like, really? You're trying to disprove things? Come on,
yeah,
man.
Gish galloping.
Okay,
Yes,
sorry to
sodium
interrupt
is
again.
not
We've been joined
Who's Gish
by...
galloping?
Sorry
You're
to
changing
interrupt
the
you guys. All right, I have to turn you down. We've been joined by Arwin and Ranty Rant. I think Ranty Rant was in first. If I could just say a quick hello to you, Ranty.
Hi.
Good to have you here. And we've also been joined by Arwin.
Hello.
So
Good to have
hey,
you
Arwin.
here, Arwin.
I'm actually leaving, but I do appreciate, Riley, that you have been a little bit more honest, okay, throughout probably a couple months, and I will have to say that, right, because I am objective about this. When you first came out, you were the most hated man to me and to a lot of people because of your tactics, but I must say that you have become a bit better, a bit more objective about this, so I appreciate it.
And on that note, Ranty.
Yes. Yeah, I only stopped in just to basically clarify what happened with that ISS footage. And how Tim said that I was putting out fake information.
It's a shame that Tim's just ran.
Yeah, I know, that's probably why he ran. But the issue was simply the ISS and NASA have been putting out fake stuff for years. There's not that many real great evidences for the ISS actually being real, apart from a few videos of the ISS traversing the moon from the Earth and all that kind of stuff. And I made that video. You were there. I made it within 5 minutes.
Just do us a favor. Just show the date. Show the date and time you uploaded it, and then show the date and time of the message that you sent to yourself before the video was put up. Because
hang on.
Because that will rule out any allegations that of any kind of deception, because it
well,
was
we
done
did a
purely
hangout. We was doing a hangout on it, if you remember, and I was showing it you.
Yeah, just show the date and time though.
No, but well, let me just let me finish what I was going to say first, and then I'll have a look for that. But the whole issue was basically to show just how easy it is to fake the ISS traversing the moon. Now, you weren't the only one involved. There was a couple of other flat earthers that knew about it. They were asked to go around and promote the video to try and get a response from ballers as soon as possible. That was the whole issue, because within 48 hours, I was going to do a video saying that this is fake and all that kind of stuff. Of course, it didn't take that long. There was so many Easter eggs in the video that anyone with half a brain could have spotted that it was a fake simply because of the moon phase and stuff like that. But the video still remains that it was a good copy of what I saw in Tim's hangout, that is presented as being the real ISS traversing the moon.
You mean Red's Rhetoric's hangout?
In Red's, yes. So
Sorry
when
to
he
interrupt you,
presented
Ranty.
that,
I'm just going to make a
I thought,
quick sorry, Ranty. Just going to make a quick introduction to Curved Water. How you doing, Curved? Earth to Curved.
Kick him.
No,
Kick him.
No, curved.
It's a faker.
We can't hear you.
We'll hear from Curved again. I won't introduce him again. He's got an introduction, but he'll come back in and out periodically. Sorry to interrupt.
So what was the point, Ranty? Do you not believe the ISS goes across the moon?
Absolutely
You
not.
don't?
No.
Do you know who Silverwolf is?
No.
Silverwolf is a flat earther who has seen the ISS in her own telescope.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen the ISS in my own telescope.
Or something traversing the moon that might be the ISS or might not be.
Yeah, it's just a light as far as I can see.
Who knows what it is?
Well, I mean, it's the ISS if you can see it with the telescope.
It's something that has the shape of the ISS, and I believe the ISS was built based on this shape.
I thought it was the Mir space station.
No, it's the ISS. You can see it with the telescope.
Yeah, but I thought it was the Mir space station when I first saw it, but that's not in the sky anymore, apparently.
Well,
there's no debate.
That
What do you mean there's no debate? There's no evidence.
There's no
the specific effect that you see in the sky that looks
Well,
like the
you
ISS
can
is
see it,
there
though.
for a long time. Much longer
How-
than the ISS.
How can you debate something that you can witness? I don't understand.
Exactly.
Can you see the astronauts waving out the window?
No.
Well,
Right.
Why do you have to?
Until you
Why do you
can.
have to?
No, just for your bare eyes, you'd have to look with your, maybe with a telescope or something. I'm not sure.
I think you need a television for that. Anyway, we've been joined
can
by
see it.
Epistemology for Truth. Sorry to interrupt you guys. We've been joined by Epistemology for Truth. How you doing?
Good. I'm
to have
curious
you here.
as to how people can see the ISS at the same time, like 1,000 miles apart, if it's a low
Yeah.
level.
Have you got any evidence to say that that's true?
Yeah, actually, I do. Me and by the time we did a simultaneous observation of it and measured the.
even who?
we did a
Everyone
sim-
can see the ISS.
Well, that's an assertion. Have you got any evidence to say that that's true?
What the hell? Why do you need evidence for something everyone can see
Because
with their own eyes?
Yeah, I mean, I have the screenshots of it that were taken at the same time.
okay,
do you
from
need,
what?
do you need evidence the sky is blue?
Well, hang on. There is evidence that suggests that there's a very limited angle of observation to the ISS, and it's nothing like what you guys are going to assert to be true.
You see it 1,000 miles apart. You could do it with a friend. You just call up a friend 1,000 miles away.
All right. Well, I don't know. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say at the moment because I don't know where exactly they're up to. But there's an experiment happening right now where we're testing the angle of observation with numerous different people when the ISS flies over certain parts of the world. And it appears that we can't all see it at the same time. We're trying to work out what is the band that we can all see it in, and it's nowhere near as wide as what you guys say it is. The evidence is.
Sorry,
I can't say who's doing it yet because it's not complete, but they're trying to work out what is the angle of observation that can be the ISS can be seen at. And if you're saying it's 1,000 miles, I can pretty much call bull BS on that because that's not the evidence that we've got. So maybe something else is going on, but I'd like to see that
For
evidence.
it to be 1,000 miles, though, you have to remember that means that for it to be 1,000 miles, that means that the ISS has to be between you and that observer, so that you're looking 500 miles and the observer is looking 500 miles. You guys are 1,000 miles apart. but-
Agreed. So are you able to present the evidence and prove that it was taken where you say it was 1,000 miles apart?
I haven't done the 1,000 miles apart observation, but based on the altitudes that we saw at 350 miles, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to see it at 1,000 miles because
Well,
it was
have you got evidence
high in the sky for both of us.
Have you got evidence at 1,000 miles? Because I know there's an experiment right now that's being conducted, and it's nowhere near 1,000 miles. There is an angle limit.
Well, here's the experiment that should validate it easily for you. If you download the app, it shows you. If you download the app, it shows you the ring of visibility on the map of the app, and everyone that uses that app can see it when it's within that ring. And no one has reported. If you read the comments, no one says, "Hey, it says I can see it, but I can't see it." That's evidence in and of itself.
That's being tested right now, and I'm telling you, that's not it's not the results we're getting.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you're probably all the experiments you do screw up, so it's not.
All right, can I please interject on that point?
Or they're deliberately faked.
That ring of visibility that you see on the app, like at AstroViewer with the ISS tracker, that is not necessarily everybody in the ring can see it illuminated from within that ring. That is where the ISS will appear at 10 degrees above the horizon from its position, but it doesn't necessarily mean due to lighting conditions that it will be visible from the entirety of the ring.
Nathan, did you hear that?
Why not?
When I first was looking at it.
Doesn't have the ISS self-illumination? Doesn't it have lamps lighting it, as we can see in the 24
Nathan, did you hear that? Then that noise was the noise of Curved moving the goalposts. Did you catch it?
Well, there might be more. There might be more good to go with it.
Goalposts.
Well, it started off with 1,000 miles of angle of observation or distance between the observers. Now you narrowed it by saying, you're not necessarily going to get that.
That is still possible. It's not 1,000 miles in any old direction.
Well, it's the angle.
But it is possible to see it from very far away. I see the ISS above my horizon when it is, over, like I've seen it when it's over Michigan, multiple hundreds of miles away. And I could go further. I've seen it down near the Gulf of Mexico.
Well,
multiple hundreds of miles away, 500, 600, 700 miles away, maybe. And that's where it comes into view for me when it is directly above somebody.
Okay.
That is on that map. It is over their head. The ISS is where that tracker says it is.
If I was to ask you for evidence that statement was true, would you be able to provide it?
I've checked it too many times.
Yeah, but we're talking about triangulating it, not just looking at it.
I am not What?
Curved.
If I ask you,
Curved, he's talking about triangulating it, Curved, not just looking at it.
This is part of triangulation.
Not from a single observer point. And you keep saying, I've seen it 1,000 times.
Wow, we triangulated the altitude on it.
And I'm using the distance, the point that it is above the Earth. And finding that distance along the Earth and using the angle.
Am I wrong, Anthony? Are you talking about something different to Curved or not?
It's valid.
Sorry, Nathan, what did you say?
I'm saying...
Also, why are we just talking about the ISS? I also watch iridium flares all the time. I also watch the Tiangong Chinese satellite all the time. It's not just the ISS that's lighting up the sky exactly when the app predicts. There's lots of other objects doing it that are in orbit, following perfectly orbital paths that perfectly make sense on a spherical orbit.
But we're talking about
where those passes appear across the countryside.
You keep bringing this back to I can see it from my point of view, and I think what Anthony's talking about is seeing it from multiple points of view.
That's fine. That's even better.
Yeah.
But I'm just
you don't have that
but
though.
It is. But given that it is above the point on Earth that the tracker says it is, I can see how far away that is over land. And use the angle of view.
You've done it again. You've just done it again, Curved. You've brought it back to you and your single observation point.
I was going to ask for evidence to support that assertion.
That I'm telling you what I have done and what I personally know myself.
Yeah,
Using multiple observers is better. Yes, the ISS is where the app says it is.
that's not the issue. The question is how many people can see it.
Is where the app says
You've said that
it is.
twice, and we all agree, Curved. Why do you keep repeating it?
Then what basis do you have to invalidate my observation?
I'm not. None of us are trying to.
Right, I've got two bases. Firstly, it's an assertion without any evidence to prove its authenticity, its truth. And secondly, there's an experiment right now that's being conducted to see how wide the observation angle is that other people can see it.
Well, yours is different.
So that would mean, though, that would mean that the app is telling people it's predicting passes for people, visible passes for people that they can't actually see it.
Yeah, but you don't always see it when it tells you that you can see it, though, right? Sometimes it's cloudy. Sometimes there's like humidity in the way. Sometimes there's smoke.
The only time I've never seen a pass that's predicted is if it's cloudy.
Exactly. So if you couldn't see it, you would just put it down to, oh, I didn't see it. The lighting was wrong or whatever.
But there's never been a case where it's a clear sky. I should see it and I don't see it. Never.
Okay. Well, all I was going to say is that you made the assertion that 1,000 miles between observers.
When it says it's only going to be a pass that's going to be 10 or 15 degrees above the horizon, which means distant pass. It always is, and it tells me the start direction, the start vector, and the end vector. So it might be northwest to northeast or whatever is the visible portion.
Let the record show that you made an assertion that there was 1,000 miles gap between the two of you, and I've asked for the evidence, and you've not produced it, and I'm calling BS on it based on empirical evidence that is already happening right now. But secondly, what was the other one? Curved said that Curved has made assertions, and again, it's without evidence.
350 miles apart, and we were both able to see it. Which so clearly that wasn't a high altitude.
Call anybody on assertions when you said we experience an eclipse every month. I mean, come on, lighten up, dude. You're not that impeccable with your language.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make sense because people use the app every day, like Globers or people that don't care at all about the shape of the Earth. They use it every day, and no one ever says this app is bullshit. It's never there when I look at it, or it's only there half the time, right? So if it's showing accurately, and you look at the area that you can see it from, clearly people are seeing it hundreds of miles apart.
Right. Okay. Well, we've been joined by Mark Taylor. Also, we have done that. I've personally done that with time and date and found that it is inaccurate, but there we go. Anyway, we've been joined by Mark Taylor. How are you doing, Mark?
Yeah, I'm good, Nathan. How are you?
Very well. Very pleased to have you here, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, Riley, can I ask you a question?
Depends on what kind of question it is.
Well, a minute ago, you said you'd seen the ISS yourself.
Yes.
With a telescope, yeah?
Yes.
And you proved that?
Yes.
Go on then.
Go to Red's Rhetoric's first hangout with me in it. It was my first ever hangout with Red's Rhetoric.
Oh, that's your proof, is it? So what telescope you got then?
Hang on. I presented all the evidence I had. I went into Red's Rhetoric's first hangout. It was my first ever hangout, and I said, can you show me how this could be the ISS? And somebody, I think epistemology was actually in that hangout that day.
So you took a picture of the ISS as well then?
No, I didn't take the picture. Somebody else took the picture and sent it to me whilst I was there because I didn't.
So it wasn't your picture then?
Yeah, it's my picture.
Well, I thought you said you didn't take the picture.
I didn't take the picture, but it's on my phone.
Okay, so what telescope you got?
It was an Astromax 700, I believe, or 70. An Astromax 70, I believe.
Okay, can you show us a picture of that?
Yeah. I can go and get it if you'd like. Would you like me to present it to you live so that you can actually see it?
So what time did you see the ISS then?
I can't remember when it was now. It was like 3-4 years ago, mate.
You can't remember what time you saw it? Okay.
It was winter.
So using a hangout with Red's Rhetoric 3 or 4 years ago?
No, I got the evidence 3 or 4 years ago. But
you have a P900, don't you?
I do.
Have you taken a picture of it with the P900? Because I've seen some pretty good shots of it with the P900, of video tracking shots.
No. No, I haven't taken
it for us and show us what it looks like.
Well, I can show you what it looks like now.
No. Do it with the P900, because I've seen lots of you. You can go on YouTube and see P900 ISS. Lots of people have done it.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't really see the point of this. I don't see the point. Mark's sorry, epistemology. I've got to interrupt you. I don't want to have to turn you down. But Mark's just gone through this whole rigmarole of establishing whether or not he's taken pictures of the ISS, and he has. Now you're saying, well, you've not taken them with your P900, and I want video now. What is the point of this?
No, he said he didn't take pictures, Nathan.
That somebody else took the picture and sent it to him.
Yeah.
Well, no, we were both there. We were using his equipment, and when they took the pictures, he took I think there was about 18 pictures, and 15 of them were blurred. There was only 2 or 3 that were any good, and I took the best one, and I said, "Send me that." So he sent it to me. I then sent it to Reds, and I asked him, could he show me how this was really the ISS? And if you ask Reds, or if you ask Epistemology, who's in here now, I'm sure he was in the Hangout, and somebody, and I think it was actually Epistemology, that actually spun the ISS round on a 3D model, got it lined up exactly with the way I had the image.
That wasn't me.
It was you.
Sorry, that wasn't me. I don't remember any of this, so it definitely wasn't me.
Or maybe Epistemology wasn't there. I don't remember the exact people because it was my first ever Hangout, but I'm sure Reds has still got it on his thing. So if you want to ask Reds, you can show it. He'll show you it, and you can see that we had a massive debate about it. And he's got it into the perfect orientation. And I said, yeah, but what's the blob that's on the end? And Reds said it was the Soyuz capsule.
So hold on, let's get this straight, yeah? Someone took the picture using your telescope.
No. To get this straight, the guy was called Martin, and I was in his house with his telescope at the time. And
you just said that you see him on your telescope.
Yeah, you asked me, did I have a telescope? And I answered, yes, I do have a telescope.
No, you said a little while ago, you said you'd seen the ISS with your telescope. Now it's changed, and it's someone else's telescope at someone else's house.
No, it hasn't changed. You're just beginning to ask more questions and not.
No, it's not. You said, I just why I came in, Riley.
No,
that's why I came in.
All that's happening.
I'd seen it with my telescope.
All that's happening is you're asking more questions and becoming less ignorant. If you ask the right questions and get the right answers and pay attention,
right,
then
did
you'll
you
understand.
See it with your telescope?
No, I saw it with his telescope.
Why did you lie earlier in the Hangout then?
Because your question was, have you got a telescope? And I answered yes.
Before
and
I
you said,
came
have you
in,
seen
Riley,
it in your telescope? And I said,
yes.
yes.
Before I came in, Riley, you said I saw it with my telescope. That's why.
I have seen it with my telescope.
I came into the Hangout, Riley.
I have seen it with my telescope, Mark.
Oh, so you have seen it now. So it's changed again then.
No, it hasn't changed. Like I said, you're just asking more questions.
Sorry, I'm going to have to do this again, right, Anthony? What is the point of this, Mark? Where are you going with this, Mark?
Well, I'm trying to understand why they're saying that the ISS is fake. There's obviously something up there. I'm clarifying whether they've actually seen it or whether, like Ranty, they're just putting out fake
He has. He's clarified it for you several times,
if they've seen
Mark.
it, then
he's clarified
they can only see it at certain times of night. They'd have to know where it was. You can't just go out and then just guess where it's going to come from. You have to go online. You have to use an app or go to a website to get how many degrees it's above the horizon, what direction it's coming from, and what time. That's what I'm trying to establish, Nathan. Whether, as usual, Anthony's lying and making stuff up just so he thinks he's got some kind of case.
Yeah, I've gone through the same process with you off air, Mark, where you challenge me on my ownership of a telescope. You know, it's just nonsense. You just want to find some nonsense detail to find.
It's nonsense to find out whether someone's lying, Nathan. Okay.
Right. Well,
you might accept people lying,
Mark,
Nathan.
You're picking apart the same details that you've done with me off air. I've just said this. It's just nonsense. You're just trying to find.
Know the first
you're
thing about
you're picking apart the minutiae of this to find a lie, and there isn't one. Anyway, we've been joined by Brenda. Very pleased to have you here, Brenda. Pleased to have you here, Brenda. Nice to see you.
Howdy.
By the way, for the record, even if the ISS was completely fake,
didn't think I'd get through that intro without anybody interrupting Brenda.
It's still, even if the ISS were completely fake, it still says nothing about the shape of.
Just turn you down so you understand that when I'm talking, I will be heard. I will introduce Brenda whether you like it or not. How are you doing, Brenda? Good to see you.
I'm just fine.
Excellent.
Hello.
Very pleased to have you here.
Okay. What you are talking about?
I just thought I'd take advantage of this moment and just present some evidence to Mark. See that, Mark?
Yeah. What mount you got for that, Anthony?
Oh,
it's a big one. It's in the boot of the car. Would you like me to go and get it out of the car just for you?
No, just wondering, Anthony.
Doesn't matter, does it? You asked me about their telescope. I've gone and presented it to you. There you go. Do you need to know any more?
Right.
What was that?
But that's not the telescope you used to take the picture.
That's
of
right.
The ISS.
That's a different question, and I can't produce that because it isn't mine. It's somewhere else.
Somebody else's telescope. Somebody else took the picture.
Yes, and then sent it to me on WhatsApp.
Okay.
So let's just clarify. You saw the ISS 4 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago now, yeah.
And did they take a picture then, or was that just when you saw it?
No, they took the picture then. There was about 15 or 16, maybe 17 pictures, and most of them weren't in good enough quality. I took the best one that was there, brought it back, and I literally sent Reds a message and said, listen, I've got some evidence of the ISS that I want to talk with you. And he sent me back the chat link because it just happened to be live at that time, and it was my first ever hangout. I didn't know what I was going into. I didn't know what it was.
So
I didn't
you
know
was
who
live
he was.
4 years ago on YouTube. You did this live 4
Yes.
years ago.
Yes.
4 years ago.
No, 2 years ago with Reds.
Okay.
Because believe it or not, I'm interested in the world we live in, and I just had the footage. But I looked at the footage before I found Flat Earth, and I thought that doesn't look like the ISS, because it didn't. That was why I went on the hangout. Had the hangout with Reds, and there was about 6 of them in there. And I'm pretty sure epistemology was in there, but if he says he wasn't, maybe he wasn't. But the guys that were in there, one of them was, I can't remember, but epistemology will know the regulars that would have been in the hangout because he'll be familiar with them. One of them, I just can't remember, but that you'd have to ask Reds to release it. It'll be on one of his private hangouts. It's not on his channel now.
Might have been Kara in there that did the picture rotation for you. That sounds like something she would do.
I think one of them was called. It was a single surname.
Wasn't the first hangout you done when Rizzler was there? Remember when you was arguing with Rizzler and you couldn't, and you was denying that where you took the pictures from was Liverpool or Runcorn? Wasn't that the first hangout? Because I remember that hangout.
No, my first ever hangout was with Red's Rhetoric.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Red's Rhetoric. You was in the chat. You was in the chat and you couldn't get into the hangout.
Yes,
you was
that's
arguing
probably
with
the one.
Rizzler about pictures being taken from Runcorn.
That's
you was
probably
arguing whether it was actually a place where you took the pictures or not.
That may, I don't know whether that was the one, but I do remember I couldn't get into the I mean, hangouts are not the easiest thing to get into, right? They're not that easy.
You just click on a link if you're sent.
What, you can't get into a hangout, but you can tell us how the center of the earth works?
When you first come to YouTube and someone tries to get you into the hangout, it's not easy to know where to go to find the link to get you in. Once you know it, it's easy.
I've never had trouble like that, sorry.
So you were never a newbie. You just came to it knowing exactly how to get into hangouts.
Well, I've never had trouble getting in a hangout. Sorry, I just haven't.
It's not rocket science.
So yeah, it's not rocket science once you know. But the first time you come to YouTube and someone,
some things are rocket science for some people.
Yeah, like deleting files.
Yeah, like 9 sodium.
Yeah, let's
is
not
a liquid
criticize
salt.
each other's internet skills, okay?
Well, I've satisfied your evidential request there, Matt. You asked me to prove that.
No, not really, because your story keeps changing. 1 minute it was a year ago, then it was 4, then you see it through your telescope, then it wasn't your telescope.
Like I said,
and now it's your telescope again, so I don't really know.
Well, a lack of internet skills could show a lack of comprehension. So if you have difficulty, getting into a hangout because you lack comprehensive internet skills, and you might lack comprehension overall, and things might be difficult for you to get if you're new to them, whereas other people might find
that's a lot of assumptions, that, isn't it?
No, it's no assumptions at all.
That was a crazy lot of assumptions. You just made about 5 assumptions against him.
I didn't make any assumptions at all.
It took me a long time to get used to the entire Hangout system.
Of course, it takes everybody time.
Well, you couldn't get out of one time, but could you, Randy? Remember?
Correct.
Comprehension.
Couldn't get out of a Google Hangout.
It seems all very meta.
Yeah, it just might be like a lack of comprehension skills if you have difficulties and with Hangouts or Facebook or any kind of internet. You have a lack of comprehension of internet skills, and that might be also something where you have a lack of comprehension skills in anything that is new to you.
And I still don't believe you see it through the telescope, because you can't even use a camera. And to see the ISS through a telescope is quite hard if you've never done it before, because of the speed it's moving. Pure fact you can't even focus the camera, Riley.
That's why most of the pictures were blurred. There was only one. I think
we're not talking about pictures. We're talking about seeing it, Riley. I don't believe you see it through a telescope. Your friend might took pictures of it. I'm not disputing that. I'm disputing the fact that you, Anthony Riley, went out, set up a telescope and see the ISS through it, because you can't even use a camera. And anyone who's seen the ISS go over knows it moves fast.
You don't have to believe anything, Mark. I produce evidence, and I ask for evidence, and that's basically
you produce no evidence. What evidence have you produced that you see it through a telescope?
What you mean, right today? Nothing.
Well then, so you haven't produced evidence, have you?
On this particular point, no. But you don't have to believe. You can choose to reject that if you want to. It's fine. You don't have to. I'm not making you believe anything.
It's still pretty meta. So what is your contention, Riley?
He didn't have any. Mark Taylor came in and asked him about the footage.
So what do you think it is? What do you think the ISS is? Clearly you've seen it, so you know it's something. Well, what do you think it is?
Close is the only answer I can give.
But people can see it and see it go overhead, and then you can like watch it. Like if you had friends across the country, and it's going to be a pass that's going to be visible across that area.
Sure, but I can also
people hundreds of miles away see it show up within seconds of it going over, going over your head.
Sure,
it goes over their head hundreds of miles away within seconds. So it's going super fast.
I agree, it's going fast, but I don't agree how far away it is, because if you use a P900, I mean, from 30 miles I can see Blackpool Tower, but it's a dot.
But here's the problem, though. If it's a low-flying plane, how is it traveling like 10,000 plus miles per hour? The ISS technically goes 17,000 miles per hour, but how is it going that fast, completely silently within the atmosphere, right? Because we don't know of anything that can go that fast within the atmosphere.
The way it's built, it would be ripped apart.
Yeah. And not only that, not just for like a short period of time, but like nonstop all day long.
Months.
Like you can
months.
follow.
How do you know it's nonstop?
A globe. You can follow the path of it across a globe.
How do you know it's nonstop? Have you got any evidence to prove that is the case?
It's tracked through an app.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that you can tell is you can follow the projected path of it, and it makes perfect sense. It's traveling on a straight line around the globe, and it'll where it will disappear. It'll disappear in like northeastern Russia or something, and then it will show up, across the South Pole, in like Australia or something, right? I'm not sure exactly, but you know what I mean.
See, normally, if somebody believed that the ISS wasn't true and it wasn't there, then they wouldn't just come on YouTube and make that claim. What they would do is they would like try to chase the ISS around the world and see if it ever landed, see if it ever wasn't where it was supposed to be. Even if they physically couldn't, they would try to get like a team of people to watch it 24 hours a day and check it. And then they would come when they found errors in that to people and go, well, this team of witnesses, this team of people worked on this issue, and these are the anomalies we found. And then you would present that to rational minds such as epistemology, and he would have to then try to figure out why those anomalies existed with you on a same level playing field. But here you come to us, say it doesn't exist, say it's not that far away, say this, say that, but you have done nothing to even present that there's a question of whether or not it is. So if you want to, you need to go through life. And you need to, no, it's not what we've done with curvature, because we have proven that there's curvature, and we have researched it, we've documented it, and there's thousands of witnesses that have testified to it. You've come and said it isn't there, but you haven't come with the evidence to prove that it isn't there. You just say that you can't see it, which isn't evidence. That's not evidence.
You can see something, but to declare that to be a satelliting space station.
Anthony just admitted that the app works. That they looked it up on the app, they looked in that spot in the sky, and they saw it. And that app, you can just make a bunch of clicks.
They figured out what the pattern of locations,
that's really and you can see that exact pass that you saw, where it was 10 minutes ago, where it was 20 minutes ago.
That's really amazing.
And
they got it really
accurate. That app is keeping track of it. Then go through every minute that app is telling you where it is and see if that's where it is. And if you find anomalies between that app and the actual position of the ISS, then bring that information to people.
Okay, I have several questions. I have several questions if you're interested. In 1967, the TVs, what color were they?
Does this not have anything to do with the ISS or what?
Yeah, it does have a lot to do with that. Was it black and white, or was it color? Was it HD?
I don't see what it matters.
It matters.
To do with the ISS.
Does it matter that you don't see it? Could you just answer his question?
Can he just explain to me why he wants to ask me, or can he just, instead of asking me a question, just present his claim? Just present the claim. Tell me what it is you want. Tell me. Don't ask me the question. Tell me what it is you'd like to tell me about black and white TVs.
Right. Would you say that the technology back in 1967 was way less than what we have now?
Don't ask me a question. Just state what it is you want to say about the technology from 1967 versus today. Don't pose questions that you already that are
shut up and let me speak.
How
I will
dare
get to the point.
ask you a question? My God.
He's asking me rhetorical questions.
In 19,
obviously he's trying to establish
questions to answer.
Channel,
obviously he's trying to establish
He's
something about
asking me-
status.
Right. I'm going to have to turn you all down. You're all getting turned down while I do a few introductions. So just so you know, none of you can be heard. Only I can be heard. I just want to introduce a few of our new guests. So we've been joined by, let's have a little look. We've been joined by Arov and I believe, we've already had that introduction. So we've been joined by Arov. How are you doing?
Arov. Oh.
Okay, so in 1967.
Bear with me.
Yes. Sorry, okay.
Need a quick hello from Arov. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very pleased to have you here. We got through it eventually. Ellen has already been introduced, although it's not Ellen. But yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Channel Q. Really sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay, so in 1967, the X-15 is the fastest plane ever to have travelled in our skies. It travelled at 7,200 kilometers an hour, Mach 6.7. This was in 1967. Okay, and it was manned, by the way. So if we had the technology back then to travel at speeds 7,200 kilometers an hour, surely we might have the technology now, some 50 years later, to produce something that could travel
In that
twice
shape,
that
in the
speed.
shape of the ISS is in the completely unaerodynamic shape of the ISS. You think it could go 7,000 miles an hour?
Look at how technology has changed.
Within the atmosphere.
Wait a minute. That X-15, first of all, it could only fly at that speed for minutes.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this plane.
It makes no difference.
It was rocket powered, so it had a huge goose tail coming off of it.
Probably
And it was
used a lot of fuel.
unbelievably noisy.
Noisy, yes. Noisy and aerodynamic.
The point was
Two things that don't go along with the ISS, that you don't experience with the ISS.
I'm sorry, I cannot compete in this chat because I'm being talked over every time by this lady. She's done it in several hangouts that I've been in recently. I don't know who you
she
are.
does it all the time.
But you are incredibly rude. You are incredibly arrogant to not let
They don't go around making fake pictures of ISS to troll legitimate people.
Well, look at how we are now. Look at we are now talking about the ISS, and it has been talked about on many platforms now.
All right, but Ranty, you realize your point is actually irrelevant, right?
No.
No.
I'll tell you why.
How do you know it's irrelevant?
Because the plane would have been noisy and aerodynamic to make the ISS lack.
Can you read his mind?
As I was answering his question.
Can you read his mind?
I'll tell you why, Ranty, if you will shut up, Riley. Okay, now, if we had the technology for an airplane to fly 20,000 miles per hour today, it does not replace the ISS because geometry. The craft that we see in the sky when we are using these apps it's up there, well over 200 miles up. It does vary a little bit, but it is up there. We can measure this.
Okay. So, you guys believe in gravity. Okay. So
this has nothing to do with gravity. Please be relevant.
Assuming that you believe in gravity, do you believe there are people out there that are trying to create anti-gravity crafts?
Again, Ranty, the ability to travel this fast is not even the issue. It is the altitude that we're talking about right now. You cannot debunk the altitude.
Which is the altitude? Is it in the thermosphere?
Yeah, you can't prove it's true.
My
either.
God.
Is it in the thermosphere?
We prove it's true. We do prove it's true. Epistemology, and by the time measured this, it's verifiable from anybody out there across the world. No one can debunk it. It is verified. It is undebunked. It's undebunkable. It is up there.
Does it live in the thermosphere?
Does it matter?
Yes.
Because
there is no metals on Earth or any substance that could withstand the pressures and heat inside the thermosphere. So
what's the pressure in the thermosphere?
All right, forget the pressure. The heat then. Forget the pressure. Heat. Just heat. Heat alone.
Do that.
Right. So once again, you got no understanding of what you're talking about.
Right. You don't understand heat versus temperature, quantity of heat versus the quality of heat.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I'm very simple. So could you explain to me?
So, right, while Curved Water gets into explaining rarefied particles to Ranty, I'm going to do a few links. I do hope you're enjoying the debate so far. I think it's been a very cordial panel, and I hope you all agree. If you are new to this channel, or you are one of the 50% of the viewing audience who have not done so already, please subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, as Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes has already done, hit that super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And most importantly, if you would like to join the panel, there is currently one gap. Simply click the link in the info box below this video with the page you are currently watching on mute. Once you join the Hangout, there are a couple of rules. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts, as you will be warmly welcome back on the next stream. I hesitate to say that because there are people who are sniping this Hangout, and it is not acceptable. All are welcome here, regardless of your views, your beliefs, or your past digressions. I think that's the correct word. But please don't snipe the Hangout. All are welcome. And if there are people out there that are doing things you disagree with, I am here to expose that by letting them actually hang themselves. So please, please don't snipe the Hangout. Join the Hangout and express your views. If you are in an opinion that somebody has done something that's disapproving of your views or beliefs, this is the place to challenge them verbally. Please don't do it by sniping. One last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
Use.
So just picking up on
the ones that accept social justice warrior programs.
No,
Yeah,
what is that? What is that? What is that?
A lot of these educational
should I then now, since you say social justice warrior programs, should I now say Easter Bunny programs? I mean, what is that? If you don't like the course, then don't take it.
You don't even know what that means, really?
Well, that's in the humanities. The humanities have been
I
infiltrated by
know what you're talking
politics.
about.
The
I'm
hard
saying
science
that
is
if you
not
find
as
something is ridiculous, then you don't have to take that course.
Can I just pick you up on a comment that you just made? You said something along the lines of, we don't need to tell you that because what was the fees thing that you said about
20,000.
Paying for.
I said the reason why he's not going to educate you is because an education of that nature would cost $20,000, and you're not paying him $20,000 Curved Water.
Right.
You're not paying Curved Water $20,000
to the
bill. Wait,
But that's not why. That's not why I refuse. That's not why. I don't want money. That is not the issue. It is.
Well, I know I'm not speaking for you, Curved. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to speak for you.
You speak over everybody.
Hang on.
Sick and tired.
Everybody speaks over everybody.
Guys, I was midway through a point. Let me finish my point and then I'll step aside.
So was I.
Q, you said that about the 20 grand and the information withholding because of it and whatnot. What are your views on the FE core?
It's not information withholding. They're not charging you $20,000 to withhold the information. They're charging you $20,000 so they can afford their electric bill, for the lights for the classroom, so that they can afford to pay their teachers so their teachers can feed their families. It's not $20,000 so they can withhold information for you. It's $20,000 so that they can pay
the
bills of the facility, the education facility, the learning facility that you will attend, and the educators who will be educating you.
Let me finish asking my question before you answer.
And if you can't afford the $20,000, you can get government grants and they'll pay for your schooling, they'll pay for your books, they'll pay for your meals, they'll pay for your transportation. And you can go to school and you can get the education on the tab of the government. Or in some cases, in some places, you can attend for free.
So,
right.
What was that question?
So you was asking a question, Anthony. Could you now finish the question that you set off 2 minutes ago?
No, he's run away.
Right, okay, I'm not surprised.
All right, Ranty, can you demonstrate that you understand
No, I think I'm
your
going
own
to leave
argument?
too because,
Can you demonstrate
No,
that
I'm
you
going to leave too.
understand your
All right,
own
close the door to the way out.
See you later, Ranty.
What are you asserting, Ranty? Tell us all about the
asserting
thermosphere,
that he's
Ranty.
sick of you guys constantly.
gone anyway,
Tell us about the thermosphere, Randy. Arwen, you want to take his
Keep on
place?
asking questions, never
Arwen,
answering
you don't even know
questions.
where the
Just keep
sun
on
rises.
nitpicking. Just keep on going.
Arwen, you
Pisses
don't even
people
know
off.
where the sun rises, brother. You're a mess, dude.
Sunrise. What's this
Yeah,
about
I'm
the
such a
sunrise?
mess. So terrible.
Yeah, I was
Are y'all
listening to
talking
the
about
hangout from the other day. Arwen is clueless.
y'all talk about that thing why the mountains light up at the top first, then the bottom part, like in a vampire movie or whatever, when the sun comes and makes the vampires run like like that?
Are vampires
That's
real?
explainable. I mean, that's
Are
explainable.
movies
The top
real?
parts.
Ori, what about the phases of the moon? How do the phases of the moon work on the flat Earth?
Well, with a flat Earth, that is a gray area, but Samuel Rowbotham proposes that only half of the moon is luminous. That the part that we're seeing is only the lighted side, half of it is dark, and you can see a similar phenomenon. If
Why
you take a
phases?
ball,
Can
color
you
half of it
please let him
black,
answer?
and turn it, you'll see all the faces of the moon. I don't know if I believe all that, but I mean, it's a mechanism that could explain it. I mean, we only see one side of the moon. We don't tend to see the other side, so maybe the other side is just
Why does the moon vary in size throughout the month? Why does it get smaller and bigger and smaller and bigger
because it's
throughout the
closer
month?
than we think. Because it's
Why
closer
does
than
it
we think.
always rotate around its axis, perfectly facing?
Big shout out to Shill Scanner for donating to the super chat.
Why does it rotate?
Bobo, the dog is a flow birther.
Facing the observer perfectly every time.
Have you looked
Even
into
if
that?
one side is
Why are
darkened,
you
it
still
rotates with it.
asking the
Why
question
shouldn't it?
when it's been answered?
Why shouldn't it? Why not?
Because it makes no damn
That's
sense.
the way God put it
Oh,
there.
it makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. The way
That's a
God
great
put
answer,
it
Arwen.
there as an illusion. It's not a physical.
Oh, God
object.
didn't put
They
it there as
don't
an
work
illusion.
that
It's
way.
there. I've seen it. I've seen
Arwen.
it illuminated in the sky, and I've seen it zoomed in on very close to tell that you can't see through it, that it's there, that it's, you know,
I got a picture I wanted to
has
share.
thickness and width and detail,
Oh, yeah.
texture, solidity.
What? So Owen,
But,
the moon makes no sense, but the stars being holograms do.
It being
Now you
closer
got
makes
it.
more sense because of the way that you can zoom in on it. Like you can zoom in on a building that's 5 miles away, and then when you zoom in on the moon,
If it's
you get
close,
proportional zoom, which
let me
means
ask you
that it's
this, though.
very close.
All right, but if it's close, why is it that someone in Australia and someone in England can see exactly the same features on the moon? They don't see any different features, and it still looks perfectly round to them on a full moon. If it's close,
the
they're pretty
closer it
damn
gets,
far
the more
apart, right?
angles you can see the
Remember
moon.
yesterday?
So if it's close, they should be seeing different features, no? And the features should look different.
Yeah, because the closer the
It's
object
at the same
gets,
time.
the more angles we would be able to see the moon from here. But the further away it gets, the less amount of angles we can see the moon from.
They don't even understand the problems here. They
So
really
if the
don't.
moon is revolving around a geostationary Earth, when it passes over Australia, they'll see some features, and when it passes over England a couple hours later, they'll see
It's
the
not
same.
passing over either.
So you're saying at the same time they're seeing the same moon? That's what you're
It's
saying?
not passing
That I don't know.
over either. Either
According
one.
to flat Earth theory, it's
It does.
revolving over the top of a geostationary flat plane that is not moving.
Sorry,
And
maybe
Didn't
going
some
around
Flat Earth
northern
also debunk
Australia.
that model?
Some northern
FEJ, he probably he might have. I mean, but still, it doesn't look like we're moving according to certain experiments that you can take or leave. But you know, it doesn't look like we're moving at all. So we need
Is the moon illuminated or is it self-illuminated?
self-luminous.
Then
According
why is it that as it changes phases, you can look in the craters and see how the craters and the bottoms of the craters get lit up as if there was a light source traveling across the surface as we see here on Earth? Like you could do this with a flashlight in craters in a science project.
The shadows don't indicate self-illumination. They indicate reflection.
Well,
You
do
don't,
those
you don't
craters
get that, do you?
change?
You
Do
don't
those
get
craters
that, do you,
change?
Orem?
Do those? Okay, well then I don't know. So I can't answer that question. Counter question
Ding,
is:
ding.
do those craters change illumination levels based off of the position of the sun? Can you see the side of the crater, then all of a sudden see the bottom of the crater, then see the other side of the crater? Is there a shift in the illumination, or is it constant? Because if there is no shift in illumination, then either it's not being illuminated by a shifting mechanism, or something else is going on. That's
It absolutely shifts through it absolutely shifts through the month.
Yeah, just like the shadows on the trees on Earth.
Yeah, the Terminator line the Terminator line and a half moon goes across the middle of the moon, and you can see all the craters at the Terminator being illuminated from the side. And you look at those same craters, 14 days later on a full moon, and they're fully illuminated.
More research needed.
And gradual change in between. No more research needed. Understanding is needed on your side.
I mean, you could literally do this with a bowl and a flashlight in your kitchen, and it perfectly makes sense.
Ooh, recipe for disaster.
So do you understand, the closer that the moon is, the more angles that we can see it from. And the farther away the moon is, the less angles we can see it from.
But we can zoom in on it pretty well, as if it's pretty close, as if it's not thousands of miles away. It's pretty close.
Well, that's a credit
to
that's a credit to the scientists and engineers who develop our technologies and cameras and things.
And another thing is the moon's changing orientation with the Earth relative to the sun, revolving around the sun. So we're on one side of the sun right now. So I guess the moon is going to become full and new from left to right. If we're on the other side of the sun, shouldn't it start becoming full right to left and change orientation of the way it gets full based off of its new orientation relative to the sun when it's on the other side? This isn't observed, as it always has a constant phase change from right to left. It never changes.
Oh my God, that's so wrong. That is so wrong.
If the sun is the source of the illumination, shouldn't it change relative to the sun and be making all sorts of changes?
Yeah, the moon is flipped upside down in Australia compared to the United States. You know that, right?
What are you talking
about?
So you're saying that there's a change in the way that it fulls out and goes new throughout the year.
Are you talking about waxing versus waning?
Yeah. So you're saying that there's a change in the waxing and waning of the moon, right to left to right, based off of the new orientation of the sun?
Yes, waning and waxing are like mirror processes.
Yes.
As far as I can
from
see,
each other.
But as far as I see, always waxes and wanes, right?
You need to pay attention, Ora.
From
in
the northern hemisphere, it always waxes, wanes, right to left.
No, they're the opposite of each other.
So you're
is
saying
when the illumination becomes more. Waning is as it goes from full moon to new moon.
Answer the spirit of my question, though. Does the waxing and waning change right to left to right, or anything like that?
Yes.
So it can wax and wane right to left and left to right? I've never seen that.
One is one is the other. I don't know what you're calling right and left right now, but I'm not even going to try to unbox that.
I'm confused as to the question exactly. What is the question?
Me too.
When the moon waxes and becomes more lit, it always seems to go in one direction, from right to left, from where I am currently in the northern hemisphere. Does this change with the new position of the moon relative to the sun as we're going around the sun? This should change because now the sun is on another side, correct?
Right, before you all jump on that, I just want to make a quick introduction to They Lie Ohio. Very pleased to have you here, They Lie Ohio.
Hey, Nathan. Hey, everybody.
Good to have you here. Very pleased to see you.
But isn't it, it's like a waxing gibbous and a waning gibbous, which means left and right.
Well, waxing means increasing. So waxing, it's increasing in light. Waning means it's decreasing in light. It always happens right to left from where I am in the northern hemisphere. So with this change, with the moon's new position in around the sun, with the sun on the other side. If the sun's on one side, it should wax and wane in a certain direction. When we go to the other side of the sun 6 months later, it should wax and wane in a different direction still.
Oh no.
Why?
Other side of the sun is nothing. Just retract that statement. Save yourself. Being on the other side of the sun has nothing to do with this.
All righty. I mean, supposedly the moon is reflecting the sun, so the position of the sun would be.
There's no difference there with what side of the sun we are in the orbit.
It's a sphere.
That doesn't make any difference to the illumination.
And why would it?
Look.
Because that shows the globe model with us going around the sun and changing position relative to the sun.
Or this is what I want you to check on. From new moon, as the crescent first appears, the crescent is going to appear you're in the northern hemisphere, right?
Yes.
And you're looking south at the moon, right?
Yes.
Basically?
Yes.
At least when the moon's high in the sky, it's to your south, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the crescent's going to appear on your right. It will become increasingly larger, moving right to left until full moon when it's completely illuminated. And then, as it moves from full moon to new moon, the waning process, it will begin to darken from right to left. When it's just before new moon, it will be the left side of the moon that is illuminated and the crescent, and then it's new moon. It travels across the base of the moon in that direction. So whatever you were getting at before, I'm not sure. It was very confusing, but I'm telling you, it works the way that it should.
But in Australia, it's the opposite. In the southern hemisphere, it's the opposite, and because the moon is upside down.
Yeah, if you're talking right to left or left to right, yeah, of course.
And it's interesting because it's upside down, but yet it's still on a full moon is a perfectly round disc. It's not like an ellipse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the spirit of my comment is still that it should change based off of the side of the sun you're on, shouldn't it? It should change right to left, left to right, waxing and waning.
It does. It looks the way that it should, according to the model.
Why would that make any difference? Because it's still orbiting the Earth in the same direction, no matter what part of the orbit of the Earth's orbit on the sun it is. It's still revolving around the Earth in the same direction. So it makes no difference where the sun is in relation to that. If you put this on a model, it would make more sense to you. Just do it with oranges in your kitchen with a flashlight.
I'd like to add also, anybody that believes the moon is self-illuminated or anything, I did these tests a long time ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and if you take any object that is lit up by itself, a light bulb, anything, and try to stick anything to it to mimic a crater and get shadow, you will never get shadow. I tried to do this, you can't do it. So the reason, I believe it's obviously a reflection from the sun is the shadows of the craters, and you can't get this any other way, with a self-illuminating light bulb, anything. You just can't create shadows.
Yeah, and there's another point that Aura tried to assert earlier, that half of the moon is illuminated, and like that half illumination kind of like were you saying that you think the moon kind of spins so that creates the phases?
Yes.
Okay, we see the same face of the moon. The moon is not changing its orientation to us. The half of the moon that is illuminated is what is changing. That is what is moving across the face of the sun. You can watch it happen over the month. You can watch it.
Because I need to do some more research on this, like has any change in orientation of the craters as if there were been noted in the moon, or is it just that a shadow comes over the moon and an area is blocked out with the same face and the same orientation seen?
Well, guaranteed, the shadow moves across the face of the moon. 100% guaranteed. Research needed? I agree, brother.
Thank you. Because I've heard stuff about additional eclipsers other than the moon being up there, like Ketu and Rahu and different things in Vedic astrology that aren't part of Western canon that are responsible for eclipsing the moon. Any research into other possible invisible bodies up there that might be going around the moon?
If a body was invisible, how would it eclipse the moon? How would it eclipse anything if it's invisible?
That's why I was asking you guys about Ketu Rahu eclipses, because there are videos out there of something, covering up the moon and moving over it and eclipsing it of some sort. Don't ask me what's
covering the moon or covering the sun?
Let me see if I can covering the moon. Let me see if I can find the video actually.
Something covering the moon.
Yes, they're for eclipses at least. Ketu Rahu,
like completely blackened. You can't, no light on. You just don't see any of the moon at all. Other than
it looks like it goes over the moon and kind of grays it out a little bit. You can still kind of see it, but
a shadow, but you can still see the moon.
Let me see
what we call a lunar eclipse.
Here we go. See if I can get this video. Share clipboard. Hangout. There we go. All right, let me post it in the Hangout. Here it is. It's about 3 minutes. There it is. Y'all want to watch it?
Sure.
All righty. Feast your eyes. Share. Let me see. How do I share this? So I just play it.
Well, remind everyone to hit that super share and super like first, and then share the video.
Hit that super share. Can you see it?
No, I see nothing from you.
Let's see. Try it again. Share via.
Are you hitting the green arrow, the green box with the white arrow, top left of your Hangout screen?
Share. I think I know how to do this. Hold on. Super share.
So if you're on a desktop computer, just move your mouse over the Hangout page and there'll be a row of 5 icons that appear on the left-hand side. The second one down is a box with a white arrow coming out of a green box.
All right.
Click that and then select the page that you want to share and then click share.
Share.
Yeah, I tried that, Nathan. That doesn't work for me.
Really?
Yeah, I tried going to the page first, like for hiding the Hangout link and stuff, and then but I don't have access to the share button anymore on the new page, so I have to share first and then switch to the tab I want to show. I don't know if it's just my computer or if that's just the way it works. I don't know.
Must be different for different browsers. Then in that case, I'll stop saying it like that and try it on a couple of different browsers before I tell people how to do it in future.
Yeah, I'm on Chrome, by the way, so that might be
weird.
part
Same
of it.
here, so that doesn't make any sense. But yeah.
Hey, while he's looking for that, I'm kind of late to the conversation here. I tried to jump in when you guys were talking about the ISS transit, but last year, Chris from Take Back Space announced he was going to try to capture the ISS, and it was on July 27th. So we all got over there in the Hangout pretty excited for him to, show us this. If anybody could capture this, he could do it. We knew it. So I'm in the chat watching My Skies, and I immediately type in the chat, I see the ISS, and then maybe 30 seconds later, Chris picks it up from Florida. So he, we're tracking it together, and this is in the evening. It's still daylight out, and the only way you're ever going to see physical metal or anything like that is when it's still daylight. Otherwise, you're just going to get a bright light. So if you go to his channel, I'm not just pushing his channel here. This is the only real capture I was involved in. His channel's Take Back Space. It's called the ISS Transit, July 27th, and you can see the solar panels. It looks kind of pudgy, but it's only like 4 or 5 seconds, maybe a little longer than that because of the speed, and it's all manually done. You can't track it. Your scope can't track it on its own. You got to physically move your scope. I've tried to do it. I haven't got it yet, but Chris seemed to, have captured it. It's excellent footage of the real ISS. I would play the video, but it's not my video, and I don't know if Nathan wants to take that chance, but it's awesome footage. I was a part of it, and it blew any theory I had out of the water that ISS is something else. It's there. I don't know if there's people in it, but it's there.
Well, flat earthers have, depending on the theory, a problem with it orbiting a brown ball Earth. They say that there are other things that could be used as satellites, like weather balloons, rockets that might go up then come back down, but no orbit.
Or
nothing that just orbits constantly, or ground-based towers being used to propagate satellite signals, or in the case of satellites, just bouncing signals off of the firmament dome. So some of these flat earthers are proposing alternative mechanisms that aren't quite like an orbiting satellite around while rocketing through space.
Okay.
Plus, you look at all these pictures of all this debris up in space that the space station should be, seeing and hitting.
No.
But when you go up there, it looks like it's totally clear. Where's all this debris that NASA tells us about?
Or if you're not going to.
That's it, Nathan. You're on it right there. Back up.
That's kind of silly. Or look, if you understood the geometry of the situation, you wouldn't even be talking about all of these crazy.
To the left.
All right.
Realize that.
Those satellites that they send up there supposedly look like foily props anyway. It looks like
scroll down, Nathan.
A science experiment. It looks like a joke.
Hang
like,
on.
What is it?
Let him communicate with Nathan. I didn't realize what was
ISS transit, it says right there. To your left. Right there.
Where are you seeing this? I don't see it. Do I have to have the watch page open?
That's hard to do right there. I've tried it. That is very hard to do.
Chris D has by far my favourite space channel. Absolutely awesome. So I positively encourage everybody in the live chat to subscribe now to Take Back Space TV, which is the name of his YouTube channel. Formerly, what was he called before? I think it was just called CD, CEEDEE.
Yeah.
And now it's called Take Back Space. But this is a well old story, but the reason I got rid of my telescope, which was literally sat where I'm sat now, was because of Chris D. And he used to have a 1080p live stream, and I used to commend him on it and say, wow, this is about 80% as good as I get from my own telescope. This is amazing. You know, to say that about a live feed that's on a TV screen is something else. And again, I've said it before, it doesn't have the mystique of having your own telescope. However, when he got his 4K equipment, everything changes. He had better resolution than I could get. It's literally better. And not only that, you can go into Chris D's live streams, and I do this. You say, hi, Chris, can you go to Orion? Like that. He's there. You're like, wow. That would be about, I don't know, 40 minutes of faffing and fiddling and cursing and watching stars drift out of my... it would have been a pain in the bum for me to do it. With him, he's like a gamer. He's just, it's just muscle memory. He can just go straight to it. So it kind of rubbed the fun out of doing it myself. But yeah, if you're watching and you want to see what it really looks like through a telescope, the very best representation on YouTube, in my humble opinion, is Take Back Space TV. Definitely subscribe.
Does he have bladder, Nathan? Out of curiosity.
Again?
No, he's not. He is not. He doesn't. Me and Chris have gone into depth over this. Chris got me started in my scope, basically. And he was really anxious to see me get started. He would help me. He would do everything he could. And then all of a sudden, the muscle memory came for me, because everything that we're doing it in the dark. You can't see your scope. You can't see your camera. And Chris helped me through that. And when you track something, let's say Chris could be on the moon, and all of a sudden an object will come by the lower half of the moon. He instantly has to get to his camera and start manually tracking this. So I've asked Chris how he feels about the flat Earth, and he encourages the research because it's going to bring out the truth for everyone in this. So Chris is on he's not on the fence, but he sees it as everything points to it being a sphere. He checked it all out. He did look into this in depth, and he encourages the things he has learned today is from the flat earth by looking at it. And, you know, he's learned so much. We all have. And that's why I don't shit on flat earthers, because I've learned so much through this. But that's Chris's stand on it. And, you know, it's like the VB thing. Everything's intangible and all that. Chris knows he can't touch these planets or anything, but he knows they're there. Whether it's a light or whatever it is, he knows they're there, and he knows they can be measured. And that's good enough for him. And he's still going to research this for the rest of his life. He's an amazing person. The guy, if you want to see what space looks like from my eyes and your eyes, tune into this guy. You'll see amazing things.
I'm going to do a quick plug on camera as well for Chris D. So Take Back Space TV is the channel that we just played out with the ISS flyby. A well-used footage by myself. I've watched that many times. But yes, definitely check out his channel. If you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, so hit that super chat like Flat Earth and the Hot Potatoes and Shill Scanner have done in this stream. And most importantly, if you would like to join the panel, there is a couple of spaces on this 10 space panel, so click the link in the info box below this video, but be sure to mute the page you are currently watching before you do so. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. And number 2, if you are ejected, please don't try to rejoin using sock accounts, as you will be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. If you've not shared the show already, please share the show, as it does encourage a wider audience, which encourages a more diverse panel. And one last time, if you've not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth
is doing in this video. He's actually following that. And I mean, I was laughing. We were all excited, you know, and I was like, you know, we were all yelling, he's got it, he's missed it, he's got it, back and forth. Incredible shot. After he rendered it and everything, you know, and slowed it down and it stabilized it, you could actually see it. You can see the solar panels off to the left and right of it.
Yeah. And if you want to talk about knowing with precision where it is and when, there are apps now you can go to find out when and where from you can see a transit of the ISS across the moon or the sun.
Can I just check that Anthony can be heard? He's asking me if he can be heard or not.
No, I'm asking, can you present me to everyone so they can see what's on screen?
Sure, there you go.
Mark was asking me about the ISS footage that I actually have on my phone. I had it archived somewhere, so I thought, right, you little swine, I'll go and find it. So I looked into, all right, one sec. So I looked into my old archives, and this is the actual photo that I went on Red's Rhetoric Hangout with. And as you can see, it looks nothing like what we're told is the ISS, because it looks more like a plane. And I went on asking, could you show me how this could possibly be the ISS? And as I say, whoever it was that was in the chat at the time, they managed to get a 3D render to make it basically orientated into the exact same way. And the only difference that they had on their animation was that there was a little blob just on the end, and it was the Soyuz capsule. So that was enough for me I call that my baptism of fire. It was my first ever hangout. It made me go back over the ISS footage for at least 6 months, and whilst I considered my position, because with my own evidence, Reds was able to show me that this could be the ISS the way we're told it is. And I was really confused at the end of it. So with response to Mark, yes, there's my evidence that I wrote, that I actually relied on from years ago with Red's Rhetoric. And if you want the independent witness of this, check it with Reds. It looks just like a plane.
Riley, I have to ask you one question.
Sure.
What was your viewer height?
It was from his house.
But how high? From how
I have
high
no
were
idea.
you?
Maybe
I don't care, but I'm supposed to ask you that. So
okay, it was from his house.
The obligation.
Yeah, there's a lot of pictures online that you can download the ISS. Well done, man. Well done.
You know why I asked you that, right?
Yeah, you're trolling me.
No,
shout
I'm not
out to everyone in chat. Good to have you here.
But yeah, Mark, there is a load of. But I wouldn't say that I got this evidence from Google or whatever if I wasn't going to rely on it. This is my own evidence that I do rely on because I did get this myself.
Is it? Because you didn't do it.
I was there when the button was pressed. I know
but
that
you didn't do it though, did you, Riley? So it's not your
I didn't press the
evidence.
button, Mark. No, but
So
it
it's
is
not your evidence, then, is it? Just to clear that up.
I'm the one with the file.
Yeah, but it's not your evidence, though, is it?
Yeah, but I'm the one with the file.
Yeah, but it's not your evidence, Riley.
Yeah,
So
but I
just to
didn't
clear that up.
He has it. You don't.
Yeah, exactly. I have it. So.
What do you mean I don't?
You don't have that. You don't have that exact image. That's his image. He's presenting it to you. He owns
But
it.
it's not
his
his
image.
It's not his.
You just said it wasn't his image.
It's not his
It's
evidence.
his image. He owns
not
it.
his
You
image.
don't own it.
It's not his image. It was
Don't
given
be
to him.
ridiculous. Shut
It was
up,
given
Mark.
to
Go
him.
away. Shut up.
It was given.
You retarded. Go away.
No, it wasn't given. It was a joint collaboration in exactly the same way that the Blackpool.
Well, it wasn't
Blackpool
because
Tower
it wasn't your
footage that
telescope
Ramsey
and it
actually
wasn't
took on
your
his
camera, so it wasn't joint. The only joint thing about it, you was smelling up the place.
Yeah, doing what to the place?
Smelling the place up.
Smelling the place up.
Yeah.
So Ranty actually took this photo of Blackpool Tower. Yeah, I've got the exact same file on mine.
That's not your evidence again. That's third party evidence, isn't it?
Yeah, but Ranty took it, and
It's
me and
third
Ranty worked on
party
it
evidence,
together.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, but me and Ranty worked on it together.
Yeah, well,
so we
see,
jointly
exactly.
both
It's
own
third
it
party
together.
evidence.
I've
Yeah,
never
but
said
both own
that
it
isn't
together.
his evidence. I agree that that's his evidence. He and I share this evidence.
No, it's third party evidence, Ranty.
No.
He didn't take it.
We were both there.
Yeah, but does it matter who took it, or does it matter who
Well,
owns
of course
it?
it does. Your claim all the time is, where's your evidence? Where's your evidence? That's third party evidence.
The exact location of this, Ranty took it on his camera, but we were both there together.
Yeah,
So
look
who
how
owns
much
the
of the
evidence?
tower's missing as well.
Pardon?
Brilliant evidence for the curve. Well done, you two. Good job.
Yeah, you're just trolling, Mark.
No, I'm not. That
You are,
tower's
Mark.
missing.
You're just trolling.
Yeah, okay.
You're just going through the same
No,
stuff.
I'm
you
not.
went-
This
went
tower
through
missing,
earlier.
Nathan.
Yeah, but the point is, though, Mark, you
There's
asked
a
me.
lot missing in that picture.
So how much trolling? What? Because I'm proving the curves. Trolling.
No, because we've been through
right,
this
I'll
evidence
get it.
time and time
So-
and time again.
Oh, okay. So
And
once
you know that
again,
I roll the
once
coaster
again,
for
flat
you.
earthers have proved
Right,
they're
now
not
you're all
interested
talking
in
over each other. I'll introduce Alex. So, how you doing, Alex? You've been joined by Cat Earth. Very pleased to have you here, my friend.
Come back in is to clear the record because you asked me to prove that I had a
I
telescope.
have to turn you down again. I'll try that one more time. We've been joined by Cat Earth. Very pleased to have you, Alex.
Hello.
Hello.
So all I wanted to show was the people that are in the chat that when you asked me to prove that I had a telescope, I went and got it for you, just for you. I didn't bring the stand because it's big and heavy and it's awkward.
Riley had a telescope when he said he had a telescope. Can you believe he didn't lie once?
Shut up, Q. You don't even need to be here. You're just an
But that doesn't
antagonist.
prove that you actually see the ISS, does it? Right.
No, but you asked me.
I would
Well,
like
then,
to.
so
I'd
that
like
was
to
my
point something out.
that was my
In
that was
the- in
my
the-
whole argument, and it still doesn't prove that you saw the ISS.
No, but you were
or the
actually
telescope.
calling me out on the evidence, weren't you, Mark? Really? That's
Yeah,
what
because
you were
you're a
really
known
doing.
liar. You're a pathological
Yeah,
liar.
but now I've
right?
presented the evidence, and you still
No,
probably
that's
won't
third
accept
party
it.
evidence. What's on the screen?
Yeah, but
I've
Ranty-
noticed this.
Mark,
I've
you're
noticed this
hijacking
about
this conversation.
ISS footage. Whenever NASA presents ISS footage that a civilian has taken, it's beautiful, crystal clear footage, clearly the ISS. Now, I don't know how they get that because I can't get it and Chris D can't get it with a 12-inch scope. I've never seen anybody get crystal clear footage. A civilian do this, but when NASA presents it that a civilian did it, for some reason, it's beautiful 4K footage. I don't know how they do it.
You can also see the astronauts waving out the window almost. It's that clear. But this is what
I don't know
got.
if
I
I've seen
tried.
that, but
Well, no, I'm
Astronauts.
joking. I'm joking.
What's an
but-
astronaut?
There's going to be an equipment quality situation there,
Yeah.
Riley. You have to
I can
admit
show you an Italian astronomer who used the Celestron 14, which is a probably a $7,000 or $8,000 rig, and he had some pretty incredible pictures of the ISS. He posted it on I think it was on Cloudy Nights, one of the forums. I think it was Cloudy Nights. I can find it for you if you really want to see it, but it was absolutely the detail on it was unbelievable.
I don't think Mark will be very happy with that. How do you feel about that, Mark?
What? That what exactly? I wasn't paying attention.
Well,
Nathan, what was that?
he's asking to present third-party evidence, which you seem to have a very big issue with. So, are you okay with this, Mark?
Well, I don't even know what you're talking about. I can't follow.
You've just gone on about it about 5
your
times.
babblings. I can't
Did you not
follow
know your own
babblings
point,
now.
Mark? You've gone on about it. This third-party evidence.
No,
You've
I've
said
gone
it.
on about Riley presenting third-party evidence when he's claimed to everyone else. You can't present that. It's not your evidence, Nathan.
No.
Right,
Why
that's
do you
what's
keep
happening
sticking
now.
a big nose in, Nathan?
That's what's happening.
It's got to be
now,
credible,
Big
Mark.
Mark.
special.
Right, that's
You're
what's
supposed to be a
happening.
moderator on the channel, Nathan.
Yes,
Why do
I'm
keep
asking you a
sticking your
question,
nose in all
Mark.
the time?
Mark, is it okay that this
Why
other
do you keep
person
sticking
who's
your
not
nose in?
Anthony
Picking on Mark a
Riley?
bit.
I'll ask
Mark
again.
deserves picking on
I'll
though,
try and
let's be
ask it
honest.
without being interrupted, Mark. Is it okay that we are now being presented by someone else's third-party evidence? Is that okay by you, Mark?
I don't know. I wasn't even listening, Nathan. So
But is it
carry
okay
on.
by Riley? Because that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the whole point. He continually says you can't produce that because it's not your evidence. That's my whole
No,
point.
I've never
Nathan.
once said that.
But as once again, you ignore that because
No,
you're
I've
a
never
flat
once.
earther
You
and a
misrepresented
raving idiot.
what I say.
So carry on, present what you like. I don't bother me.
Oh,
It
good.
just proves
We can present
how
what we like.
hypocritical you
Excellent.
lot are.
Excellent.
So carry on. It's just
Excellent.
proving my case. Thank you, Nathan. You've done it again.
Can I just say, I was wondering, just a thought, but when you said that NASA present amateur footage, isn't the reason that they're presenting that because it's so hard to take, so they think it's worth presenting in the first place?
Or it's not real in the first place.
Well, no, but you understand the point there, though, right? Because if it's such a hard thing to do, then they'll give you.
I understand right. It's such a hard thing to do, and me being a part of this capture that Chris took here, he wanted me to tell him when it's coming over my house, so he knows exactly how many miles it is from him. Being me in Ohio, him in Florida, I contact Chris, and that's the best he could do. That's the best he's ever done. An awesome backyard astronomer, if you want to look at him that way. And what I'm telling you is, when NASA presents a civilian saying this is this guy's footage, it's beautiful, crisp 4K footage, not a blemish.
Yeah. So the point I'm making is that's the reason they're presenting it, right? Because they're impressed. They're saying, look at what our amateurs taken. You know,
possibly.
That's what I mean.
Know. I'm not denying the amateur. Right. I'm not denying it's fake. I want to know how he did it.
Yeah.
So the amateur could be CGI.
Well, okay, but I would think that's the reason
CGI.
NASA are giving for presenting it, right? Because whenever someone takes one of these amazing shots, they usually get a bit of fame for a bit, don't they? Everyone in the community is like, "Oh, wow, good shot, man." It's as far as I know, I'm not in that community. Mark will know that better. But
you also have to understand that there are motorized drives that can be connected. They're computerized. They have software, tracking software. And with a very high quality mount and a really good telescope and a really good camera, thing very smoothly and get these better shots. It's expensive equipment.
Right, that's how Astronomy Live did it. He actually wrote a script that would follow the orbital path so that it would create a nice smooth slew of the scope as it made the pass. It wasn't being tracked by hand, introducing all that vibration.
You have to understand everything that goes into these better quality pictures. They're not out there with a Walmart telescope and a Walmart camera shooting it by hand.
Yeah, but to be fair though, this guy, the guy that did this particular picture, he did have one of those laser guided telescopes, and it didn't give great results, and it was a massive fat thing.
What is a laser guided telescope?
I don't know the exact terminology.
Yeah.
Well, what's the point of it?
This is all manually done. And like I said before, in my experience with telescopes, it's moving over so quickly. You're going to have to manually take control and follow it. I've never seen it tracked. Your computer on your telescope, I don't believe is going to track the ISS. That's pretty hard to do. I don't think the motor will run that quick.
You can get bits of software that does it now. They have got satellite tracking apps. But what they do is, if you get some video of the ISS, you put it into software, then the software splits it up into each individual frame, and then you can discard frames that aren't very good, and you stack all the frames together, and then you get a clearer picture. It stops the shuddering, stops any distortion because of the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's image stabilization, like they did with the Bigfoot footage, where they take all the vibration out of it.
Right. Now, this video by Chris D here, Take Back Space, that is stabilized. That's the best it's going to get for him.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on loads of different things. It depends on the equipment you're using, depending what angle with the ISS is, how much light's hitting it, what the atmosphere's like, what time of year it's taken.
It's good to start with a stable capture.
Yeah.
To begin with.
Yeah. By the way, an LX2, the Meade LX200 series mount will you can program that, and it does slew at a rate fast enough to track the ISS.
It does.
The LX200 series does, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I use a telescope that's I bypassed the actual telescope's motor. I use software, and there's software online that you can add to it that tracks satellites.
So you've
All it
captured,
does.
you've captured the ISS. Then you have video footage of it, Mark.
No, I have pictures.
You have pictures.
Yeah, this is captured
YouTube.
with the Celestron
those,
8.
Mark?
They're just for you to look
There it
at.
is.
Cool.
Why do I want to put them on YouTube, Ranty?
Well, I'm only asking a question because if you have this great information,
No, I do it for my own personal pleasure, Ranty, not to prove something to people that are just
so you troll flat Earth for years. You have this great information that
troll
can shut
flat
us all
Earth
up,
for years. Okay.
that can shut us up, and you don't produce.
But what would difference to make it come
stop,
from
stop.
Mark?
Let's
Still deny it if it comes
Let's
from
talk
Mark.
about the footage.
Ranty, have you been out to see the ISS?
No, listen. You told me that you have images of the ISS.
Yes, I have.
But you won't upload them for everyone else to see. They are your
why? They're for my own personal use. Some people have seen them. ICE has seen them. Other people have seen them.
Yeah, I'm sure the Queen's seen them as well, and so has the Bigfoot.
Yeah, but Randy, will you accept
so you're
if
trolling
Mark...
now, then, Ranty, aren't you?
I am trolling, yeah, because if you have
so
this
it's
information,
okay
and I
for you to
suggest
troll
you put
them,
it
but
up there.
anyone else who disagrees with you, it's not allowed, Ranty.
You should put it out there and shut us all
Why
up.
should I, Ranty? What? For you to just
wait
deny
a minute. Does putting
You
it up
wouldn't shut
there
up?
end the debate?
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah,
You
what,
wouldn't
Randy?
accept it,
What do you
Randy.
mean
Did it end the debate like what Soundly produced ended the debate?
Yeah.
You don't have anybody else to troll then, Mark.
Ranty, have you done it? Have you looked at the ISS?
You won't have anybody else
Have
to
you
troll.
checked the
Have you,
ISS
Ranty?
and proved there's anomalies in
Ranty,
its
have you been out to look at it?
appearance
I have
at certain
seen.
times and then brought forth that data so that we could look at it? No.
Can I bring it back on track a little bit on topic?
I doubt it.
Somebody asked a question earlier on. What issues do you have with the ISS? And one of the answer that I gave was it's not that far away. It's a lot closer. And the reason why I say that is because my telescope is claimed it's supposed to have a. Let me get this right. It's an 80 zoom. What was the optical zoom on the P900? Is it 83?
83.
I think that Astro 70mm telescope's got a focal range. I think it's 160. Might be wrong. It's there or thereabouts. It's supposed to be double, right? But actually, when I put them side by side and I go and do them literally side by side, the P900 is better. Yeah, it's half the zoom length, and I don't know why it's that way. It just is. Now, I can't prove that, but that's the reality. Now, in any event, when I use the P900 and I zoom into something the size of Blackpool Tower from 30 miles away, we're looking terrestrially. We're looking through our atmosphere, and I can only just about pick it out. It's tiny. Ranty will vouch for it. It's really small. Unless you knew it was actually there, you would miss it. Now, when I look up at the ISS, even with the naked eye, if I was to try and zoom in on that, I wouldn't be assuming that it was stationary. I wouldn't be able to keep up with it easily. But if it was stationary, I can tell by how small it is in the sky that I would be able to zoom in on it, and I would be able to make it just about. But that would tell me that it's of the same kind of distance that Blackpool Tower is, about 30 miles. That's what it appears, in my opinion, to be. It looks maybe just a little bit further, but not that much further. So when the question is, well, what problems have you got with the ISS? For me, it's nowhere near 600 kilometers away.
But Riley, if you did the math on it,
So I'm going to interrupt these guys to let you know that we have a little under 15 minutes left on this broadcast. So one last time, I'm going to run through my links. If you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And if you would like to join the panel, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. Please do not swear, that will get you ejected, and if you are, you'll be welcome back on the next show, so don't try to rejoin if you are ejected. One last time, if you've not shared the show already, please do so. I will come back one last time to thank the audience, and if you've not subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
The group chat, I posted a picture of that astronomer on cloudy nights who took that with his Celestron 14.
Yeah, I see that. That's awesome.
But what he says makes a lot of sense because the rate at which the stuff is passing underneath the space station is way too fast. I assume everybody's been on a plane around here. When you pass maybe a mile above the ground, if that, stuff passes by very slowly, and that's at 700 miles an hour. And the space station is supposed to be hundreds of miles above the Earth, yet everything's passing by faster than it would in a plane that is closer down to the ground. As you get further away from an object, it should appear to travel slower based off of perspective because you're further away from the object. When you're close, stuff zips by you quickly because of its relative position to you. But 200 miles away, it passes by faster than it does when you're in a plane at maybe a third of the speed. The space station supposedly is orbiting at around 17,000 miles an hour or whatever. The relative proportional distance and the way that it's passing by underneath it just looks fake. It looks like a fast forwarded video, if anything, and they can manipulate that stuff up and down with fisheye lenses, adding curvature and cropping the screen to make it look deceptively edited. Plus, you also have a funny thing happen on the way to the moon, showing the deceit and how the moon landings themselves were probably staged and faked by Stanley Kubrick and company already. So we already have a pattern of deceit coming from NASA.
Yeah, there's massive amounts of deceit coming from NASA.
You're not getting any deceit from NASA. You're getting all this deceit from movies and YouTube videos and conjecture and rhetoric.
We're not getting any deceit from NASA. Are you serious?
I'd like for him to mathematically support his point about the rate at which stuff passes in airplane versus ISS.
We've got about a little under 10 minutes left, guys, just so you know, about 10 minutes left on this stream.
When have you ever been on the ISS to know how fast things pass?
Who's that?
Process of elimination. Think about it. What balloon, what anything do you know that can fly from Ohio to Florida in 4 minutes?
Right.
Think about that. It has to be damn high and far away to make it from. When I'm in Ohio, I can see the ISS in St. Louis.
Hang on. Okay. What were you saying? What was that distance you gave? From where Ohio?
From Ohio to Florida in a matter of 30 seconds. Chris from Take Back Space, when I see it in Ohio, in 4 seconds, he can pick it up in Florida.
You actually didn't you say 4 minutes a second ago?
No, I said 4 seconds. If I said 4 minutes, I didn't mean to say 4 minutes. It's a matter of seconds.
Yeah, plus you can get 2 passes in one night, even 3 sometimes. So how does it?
Let Lie Ohio repeat the comparison there. It was over him in Ohio, and it was to when
it became visible to Chris in Florida in about 4 seconds from me typing in the chat, "Hey, I see it." And in 4 seconds, he said, "I see it."
That's a distance of around about 750 miles.
That's why I asked him to make this point. He is not saying it was over Ohio and then 4 seconds later it was over Florida.
Okay.
Directly above.
All right, so let's just establish the facts. Ohio to Florida is around about 750 miles. Okay, so I've just checked it on Google Maps. Now, I know you're going to think that I'm being funny, and I'm not. But are you able to prove?
Go on, Riley, smash him. Go on.
Have you got the evidence to prove that you both saw it at the same time?
No. Why would I even collect evidence like that?
Why would you cite it though if you can't prove it to be true? Because it sounds like
Riley. This is the reason.
Riley,
I'm
why would you make $1,000 bet about lunar eclipses?
Riley, go listen. Here's what I'm telling you. Here's what I'm telling you to do. Get on ISS Tracker, and I want you to note where ISS Tracker says the ISS is, and then note where your location is. And when you look at it, and I'm going to give my example because I don't know exactly where you live. When I get on ISS Tracker and my girlfriend looks at me and says, "Honey, it's over St. Louis," and I can see it, I know how many miles I am from St. Louis.
So in that
same with Chris.
In that case, then, would you be interested if we could find 2 people that fell along the path of where it's supposed to be, and we could measure?
Riley, me and Chris from Take Back Space have already done this a year and a half ago.
Right.
This is what. Listen,
to prove it.
Riley, I want you to understand. I was on the fence. I almost was a flat earther, and the overwhelming evidence that I kept proving myself wrong led me to stay on a globe Earth. I'm sorry.
Forget the globe Earth. Let's talk about the ISS. Did you get the evidence at the time that satisfied you that it did what you said it did in 4 seconds?
Yes, 100%. It's doing exactly what they say it does.
Would you be interested?
And it pissed me off, Riley. It pissed me off that I wanted it to be fake so bad.
Well, listen. I want to believe you, but I want to see the evidence that proves that that's true. You said 4 seconds. Now I know you don't have it, but would you be interested in doing it again if we could find a path that made it work between two observers? If one of them was you,
definitely.
Right.
Can I just intersect here? If it's, do you know the circumference of the Earth?
Yes, I do.
So what is the circumference in miles?
I'm sorry?
What is the
It's
circumference
25,000 miles in circumference.
Correct, yeah. So if you're saying that the ISS traveled 750 miles in 4 seconds, is that correct?
No, that's not. No.
He's not saying it went from Ohio to Florida. He's saying it was in Ohio and you could see it in Florida.
And it would be at an even greater distance if it was 200 miles up, because the circle would fatten out with the additional addition of 200 miles of diameter. So
the reason I'm bringing this,
listen, it does.
The reason I'm bringing this to your attention is if I'm in Ohio and I'm visually looking directly above me and the ISS is above me, and in 4 seconds, if Chris from Take Back Space in Florida says, I see it now, that tells me the only way Chris could see that ISS has to be at least 200 miles overhead.
That would depend on the angle of observation, though, right?
You do the math on that. What I'm telling you is, for us to see something that far away from Florida to Ohio, it has to be very high in the air.
Well, hang on. This is what we're trying to establish. I'm asking, how feasible is it that something can travel 750 miles in 4 seconds?
It didn't travel 750 miles. It did not travel that far.
How far did
how many times do we have to make the point? That's not what happened.
It was visible between 750 miles.
Yeah, you might have to write it down for him.
No,
I understand. It could be seen that far. It didn't travel all the way to Florida.
The angle on the horizon would be, because you said it went overhead at Ohio, right?
When it was overhead, and in about 4 seconds, Chris put in the chat, I see it now. So he can now see it.
Horizon.
Right. So basically,
it doesn't mean it was overhead for him. It didn't go overhead from Ohio to overhead in Florida.
Correct. He can see it in the horizon. He could get his scope.
Hang on. Stop. Wait a sec. Give me the mic for like 10 seconds. Ranty, do me a favor.
Yep.
I'm gonna just in the side chat. No, actually, yeah, in the side chat, so everybody sees it. Just type the words "I see it," and when I say "I see it," just type the words "I see it" too, and let's repeat that experiment. And then anybody tell us that we right. Wow. So I see it, Ranty. Type in "I see it."
Is up, Riley. Your 10 seconds.
Sounds as though all I'm saying there was a relay.
Riley, really? Is that going to be your evidence? Is that going to be your evidence?
I'm not being funny.
Is that going to be it? Is that scientific? Is that legitimate evidence?
If I say I see it and then Ranty types "I see it" too, does that mean that he sees it?
Because Daylight Ohio came on here to tell you this whole big story, and it's all just a concoction.
Look.
No, but it's a concoction without evidence, though, isn't it?
You said you weren't going to challenge him on that because you said you
understood
to do with the ISS and no evidence necessary to have that evidence, and you were asking
it was only 30 seconds ago. You understood what was going on.
If he was willing to repeat it, now go back to that.
But
it seems before you do your normal histrionic personality bullshit.
Look, this is anecdotal evidence.
How long does it take to type in the sentence, I see
Riley,
it? It would probably take 4 seconds.
That's not the point, Riley. That's not the point. I thought you wanted to ask Daylight Ohio if he'd like to repeat the experiment.
I wouldn't do it, Daylight, man. You don't do it to yourself.
Yeah.
Give him the link to the
stream. I thought you wanted to repeat the experiment doing the ISS.
4 seconds later, and he got it in chat saying, I see it. Come on.
This is the point that he's
if this is the standard of evidence that you're expecting to accept.
It's not the standard of evidence, Riley.
This can be done.
They ask for evidence of your viewer height and shit like that, and they need it all proved.
And with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the live audience for joining us on this live debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the panel for making this debate possible. And once again, a huge thank you to all who share this video, as sharing the video increases the people watching, and that increases the diversity of the people on the panel. So once again, a massive thank you to all who shared this stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you guys all in the next video.